Hello, I'm Andy Mack, and welcome to Movie Shorts, the film review podcast that reviews films in under 10 minutes without giving too much away. Be sure to check out my previous episodes, including How to Train Your Dragon, Ballerina, Warfare, and the Minecraft movie. Available now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all good podcast platforms. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Movie Shorts Andy Mack for teasers, updates, and behind the scenes movie thoughts. This week I'll be reviewing 28 Years Later, the long-awaited return to the Rage virus universe. So let's get straight to it. 28 Years Later is a zombie horror post-apocalyptic film running 1 hour and 55 minutes in length. It stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, and Alfie Williams. A mix of powerhouse talent and rising intensity that fits the tone of this franchise perfectly. The film begins in the past. We see the early stages of the Rage virus through the eyes of a young boy named Jimmy. He's told, along with a small group of children, to stay in the living room. Something's clearly wrong. Moments later, the virus tears through their village, and what were once normal, everyday people are now terrifyingly fast and feral. Jimmy escapes, racing to the local church where his father, the village vicar, gives him a crucifix and tells him to hide. It's brutal, it's sudden, it reminds us of the past, and it sets the tone. We then fast forward 28 years later to Holy Island, Lindisfarne, cut off from the mainland except at low tide. We meet Spike, a 12-year-old boy who was born after the outbreak. He lives with his father, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and his ill mother, played by Jodie Comer. Today is the day Spike is finally allowed to cross the mainland and join his dad on his first ever hunt. And we will stop there. The performances are quietly excellent. I was particularly impressed by Alfie Williams, who plays Spike. He never overplays it, but you feel the weight he's carrying, a pressure that no child should be under. But in his world, he doesn't know any different. That innocence and burden sit side by side, and it's handled with real restraint. Jodie Comer shines as always. Her northeast accent is flawless, and her ability to pivot emotionally, sometimes within a single look, is remarkable. You believe every moment with her, even in the most heightened scenes. And a huge nod to Ralph Fiennes, who gives us something a bit unexpected. He brings a calm seriousness to the role, but there's also kindness, humour, and just a touch of the bizarre. It's a performance that catches you off guard in a good way. The tone here is bleak, but not in the way you'd expect. Danny Boyle with writer Alex Garland gives us a version of Britain that feels like it's slipped back into the Middle Ages. Yes, the Rage virus is still the threat, but it's the setting that really unsettles. Children aren't just learning to survive, they're being trained for the moment when survival becomes violence. Killing is treated as a rite of passage, and when that moment finally comes, there's a strange sense of pride, not just from the child, but from the community around them. Parents, especially fathers, feel a weight of responsibility. A son's first kill reflects on them and whether they've raised him correctly, and when stories are told of these moments, the truth seems stretched, blurred, even myth-like. A boy's kill isn't just survival, it becomes legacy. Boyle cleverly weaves in snippets from old films and archival footage like British longbowmen in black and white reels, a subtle reminder of when Britain was a force to be reckoned with. But now it's an island left behind, brutal and primitive. You feel it. The tools are cruder, the values harsher. This contrast really hits when Spike meets someone from beyond, someone who wasn't raised in this world, and that moment, the film also feels raw. There's a relentlessness to the way it's shot, partly because Boyle chose to use an iPhone for sections of the film, it adds a gritty, immediate, almost documentary-like quality. It's immersive, and when the chaos hits, it hits fast. But there's also space. It's not wall-to-wall action. It lets moments breathe. Stillness, then violence. Silence, then screaming. It mirrors the fear that something could break at any second. The tone is bleak, but never hopeless. You're always looking for that flicker of humanity somewhere. Like Warfare, it offers the moments between the action that leaves the biggest impact. The silence, the wait, the pauses, the choices. The film strikes a remarkable balance between violence, poignancy, and fear. It's not what you'd expect from a zombie horror. It has the horror, but it also gives the characters and story room to exist, to shift, to feel. At times it's like we've stepped back in time, but we've also been thrown into the future, a medieval harshness mixed with dystopian drift. And beneath it all, the film asks, what happens when brutality becomes tradition, when fear becomes law? The film definitely leaves us set up for more, and that's no surprise. Alex Garland has form here. Just like in Civil War and Warfare, he gives a standalone story that still feels part of a much bigger conversation. The threads for continuation are laid out without feeling forced. Whether we get the next chapter will likely depend on box office numbers, and based on the buzz, that future looks more than likely. 28 years later. Gritty, gnarly, and grounded. Thanks so much for listening to Movie Shorts. It's been amazing to see downloads coming in from all over the world, so thank you again if you've ever tuned in, even for just a few minutes. There's a seriously exciting run of films coming up, so keep an eye on your feed, follow the podcast on your platform of choice, and head over to @MovieShortsAndyMac on Instagram for all the latest updates. Thanks again, and goodbye.